So can you say any Assyrian words?
No, I don't know
Nothing.
anything about no.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, so folks, we have a special guest here today, specifically because after what happened yesterday with the list that came out. What's this list called, Vinny? It's called the Epstein list. We figured a lot of people may need a lawyer. We may as well bring a qualified lawyer. Now, whether she accepts the offers or not, obviously that's not on us. Yep. But today's guest is none other than Alina Habba. And by the way, before we get started, I think we got to give the breaking news, heartbreaking news, Vinny, to the world.
Everybody brace yourselves for impact.
Especially, this is the small community of people that are listening to this. We get message left and right. Did you know? She's a Syrian. Yeah. Did you know she's a Syrian,
she's related to my cousin's brother.
Yeah, and guess what, Alina? It's great to have you on a podcast, but are you a Syrian? The world wants to know. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry.
You broke.
I am so proud of my Middle Eastern background. I am not a Syrian.
So tell us about the background. So
my parents are 100% Iraqi, born Baghdad, Iraq. And, they're the American dream, came over here. And my father's a physician. But I am a Catholic Arab. I am one of the very few left in the world. I am Roman Catholic. My parents are from Baghdad. And if you speak Arabic to me, I'll understand you, but I'll answer you in English because I'm very shy.
Literally, you speak it.
I do understand most of it, yeah.
Got it. Well, very cool. Now, we know that. But, even if you're from Iraq, there could be... You got to cling on something, right? There could be somebody in the lineage that could have been a Syrian.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. So,
I'm all for it.
We had a relative.
I represent. Whatever you need me to represent,
That's
I'll represent.
Right. So we were one day, we were at a family comes over, friends and family comes over to the house. It's me and Jen sitting there. This lady's like, Pat, you ever done an Ancestry, .com test before? I'm like, no, but I know what I am. Armenian, Assyrian, Aramaic, all this stuff. So you just got to do the test. Have you done one yet or not yet?
Well, I'm afraid of giving.
Okay, that's what one of us was saying. So let's test it out.
Yeah.
So it came out. It said 18% Italian.
You?
Yeah.
100. I get 100%.
So I called my mom and my dad. I said, guys, who hooked up with an Italian? Mom got offended. Dad didn't understand the question.
That in our culture.
Your dad just walks out of the room.
I'm like, I just want to know, where's Vinny? Where is a Tony? I'm just looking for a Johnny. Give me a name.
You got the dark hair. I mean,
I got the dark hair, the nose, the
well, that's
skin.
And all the interviews of mafia people. I mean, kind of making sense.
But today is about you. So it's great to have you on because... and the timing of it is kind of weird. Obviously, we're going to talk about what's going on with the president, Trump, what they're doing to him. We'll talk about a lot of other things, your background. You're a very interesting character right now as a lawyer. You're out there. You're tough. You're strong. You're confident. You're imposing. You're pushing back. You're not afraid. You're relentless. You still keep a smile on your face. It's not easy to do. And I'm sure the job that you have right now, all eyes on you, requires you to be constantly reading, investigating, researching. At the same time, you don't want to give any kind of inclination of, that they're pushing too hard and any of that stuff because you want to show that you got all this stuff under control. So with everything going on right now with the president, okay, I mean, we hear about Maine. We hear about Colorado. Rob, if you can pull this up with some other states that they're even thinking about it, right? So the orange states, Colorado and Maine, are the ones that are officially disqualified, right? Decision appeal, disqualified, great. Green, challenge, dismiss, or rejected, don't even think about it, right? The baby blue, whatever that color is, they're not even participating. The yellows, Oregon, Nevada, California, I think Newsom came out and said, we're not even going to be participating in that. So he kind of put that out there for whatever reason, political reasons he put. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Alaska, all these other states, we know some of them are not going to do anything with it. But those could still possibly make a push to challenge, to disqualify the president for running. Is this purely a show? Is this like they're just doing this to make the voters sit there and say, oh, my God, we shouldn't vote for him? Or do they have any kind of a chance of making it hard for the president to win in 2024?
Do they have? No. I mean, look at the numbers. So first, let's start with the legal part of that, right? Yeah. So legally, if you say to me, Alina, legally, in the Constitution, have you ever seen a case where somebody who has not been charged with insurrection, somebody who has not gone to court and been found guilty of insurrection, should be disqualified based on the 14th Amendment, insurrection? If you say that to anybody who's a lawyer or a non-lawyer, the answer is very simply no. That's insane. That could never happen. But it is happening because we've seen, my favorite is Maine. I like to talk about the Maine woman. She gets up, and I'm not making light of it, but Section 320, it says insurrectionist, and he said go peacefully and patriotically. So that's insurrection. And because of that, I'm going to take him off myself. I mean, you want me to actually take her seriously? I look at him like, honey, no.
She's not a lawyer, right, Alina?
No.
She's not.
No. And it was, I laughed. I hate to say it. I laughed. That doesn't mean it's not serious. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean we don't have to now deal with it. But when you look at even Colorado, there was dissenting opinion that was furious and said, we're doing the wrong thing. But I think we have these charged up radical left that see the poll numbers go up and are so ignorant to the fact that they are a major part of that. This behavior, this woman is a major part of why his poll numbers go up. It's not the only part. Our country was amazing under him, obviously, and we have a crazy, terribly decrepit economic situation right now, borders, fentanyl, et cetera. But no. Yeah. But what is that?
Alina, this 14th Amendment, anytime you turn on the news, whether it's Fox, whether it's MSNBC, whether it's CNN, anywhere you go, 14th Amendment, Section 3, which essentially says anyone that's running for office that has taken the oath to the Constitution, whether it's president, congressperson, senator, if they've been engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States, if they've taken the oath of office or supported the enemies thereof, is no longer qualified. So just unpack this situation, because the 14th Amendment, I believe, was written right after the Civil War.
Can you pull this up, Rob?
Citizenship to anyone born or naturalized in the United States. Just make sense of the actual amendment and then the section 3.
I mean, look, I can never pretend to be an Alan Dershowitz or Mark Levin. They're so epically intelligent when it comes to the Constitution, and I think I've earned my stripes. But I will say in very simple terms, this was not meant for this. This was done so that you didn't have people who are anti-American be able to take a position of office, especially after a war. It is in an extreme scenario.
Right. It was built for the Confederacy.
For the Confederacy, exactly. Correct. Anti-American mentality, everything, to make sure that we don't go back to slavery, to make sure that we don't go back to things that we don't want this country to go back to. Having someone question election integrity, having a president, not someone, a sitting president who makes up the entire executive branch, say, I'm concerned about election integrity, and I see things happen at 4 a.m. that don't make sense to me. I see a scale. If you look, there was a chart, right? And it shows, here we go. And then all of a sudden, 2 o'clock, boom, Biden's up. I mean, it was very strange. And you can't say that there is perfect ballots and election integrity in this country. Nobody can say that. So to bring in these cases and try and go under the 14th Amendment, and I've had case after case where they use this. Letitia James is another we can get to later. They use statutes, they use amendments that are not meant for this because of desperation. So I'm not concerned. I think that the Supreme Court is going to have to address this. I think that once they make that decision, it will put this all to an end.
And Alina, if you're the average American sitting back, I don't care what side what party you're on, and what side you claim, and you're watching this all play out, it's obvious what they're doing. How do you trust the justice system when it's in your face that the guy that's in first place, you're trying to chop off his legs?
I don't.
Like, how do you even?
I don't. I don't.
The average American with your case and your problem, if they could do that to him, literally actively cheating and trying to get him wrong, how do you go to court and be like, oh, I have to go to court tomorrow and trust these people? Yeah. Anybody.
I've heard that people, and this is a problem that we're seeing now, people are worried about how to register to vote. They don't want to register to vote as a party voter because they're afraid that if they're identified as a Republican or a Democrat, that they'll be treated a different way when they go to court because those are public filings, right? Wow. So that's something that's been a repercussion. They say, oh my goodness, I can't be affiliated with the Republican Party, so I'm going to close the curtain vote red, but I'll say that I'm independent, or I just won't register to any party. It's crazy. That is so un-American.
Yep. And in regards to, because I heard you say to in interviews, all the attorney generals, district attorneys are all Soros.
They are,
back,
honestly.
Right? And I know, you guys, by the way, he looks, if you haven't seen Googled George Soros, that's the epitome of evil face.
He doesn't look well.
He's anti-humanitarian, honestly.
That's exactly. Elon Musk said that he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and that he hates humanity. What do you think, Alina, is the goal of like somebody like him, a powerful elite that just wants to destroy the country that they live in? I've been trying
bizarre.
to. How?
I think that what they're looking for, what we're seeing in Washington right now, and look, I'm a lawyer. I happen to be in the political realm as an attorney, but I'm not a politician. But I will say that I deal with the DOJ. I deal with the FBI. I deal with these entities and the DAs and the AGs, and I see what they do behind closed doors. I see how they manipulate things. And I will say that there is no question that they're so self-interested that their thoughts are not about the benefit of our children. Their thoughts are not about the benefit of our economy. It's about Nancy Pelosi making $100 million off stock somehow when she's on a $180,000 salary. This is what we're in. And it's almost like a fame epidemic, I think. I think that some of these AGs and DAs and the Fannies and the Letitias, and if you look at them, they love having pressers. They love having press conferences. Jack Smith, they love having press conferences, getting in front, having their moment. It's almost a narcissistic. Mm-hmm. And then I got to go out there and fight the BS that they just spewed. Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I had to do it off the cuff. And it's all because this guy paid money to their campaign. And now they have some promises to fulfill. And that's the opposite of Donald Trump, which is why I'm so proud to represent him. He's not bought. He's not bought.
Should that be allowed? Should that be allowed where, because this could work, you know, like we had Paul Manafort here and we're talking about lobbyists. Lobbyists are ruining America, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, you know, we shouldn't let people run for office and raise billions of dollars with these super PACs and all this other stuff and look at the kind of money that this person's raising, that person's raising. Well, let's just say we eliminate the PAC. Let's just say we eliminate lobbying. Let's just say we eliminate a guy like Soros funding your lawsuit. Does that make everything level playing field, or should people like Soros be allowed to fund other people's lawsuit? Because if somebody like the Midas Touch, right, whatever, or the left, or CNN, or these guys, right, so they may sit there and say, freaking awesome what Soros is doing. To them, he may be a hero. To many of them, maybe like, what a great guy he is. He cares about democracy, right? They may sell something like that to the average viewer. But should that even be allowed on both sides? Specifically funding other people's lawsuits?
No.
So what would happen if we, so do you mind walking us through it? So let's just say that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Who loses, who wins?
So unfortunately, here's an issue that'll come from not having financial backing through PACs, right? PACs obviously are important because running for office, running for presidency costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And you do want to level the playing field to some regard to make sure that everybody can compete fairly, right? You don't want to have Trump's a billionaire and Chris Christie is, has $100,000. So he is not going to be able to compete, right? I want Chris Christie to be able to try and compete with Trump.
PAC.
And I want them to say, look, you all have funding. Vivek, a lot of funding. The numbers are just not where Trump is. So at the end of the day, I don't think it necessarily hurts us. What hurts us is this legal backing, the AGs and DAs. That's where I say you have no business putting money into the legal system, meaning judicial, the FBI, the DOJ, backing them. Letitia James, they're all politicians. And they get backed, and then they have to keep promises. So I don't like that. Now, something for president, something that major, I don't see how they could do it without it. But in terms of these individual states having political backing, that concerns me because you're seeing targeting. And I'm there in court, and the targeting you hear about in the media is nowhere near as bad as it actually is, I can assure you.
She campaigned on basically prosecuting Trump. That was her campaign message. But back to Pat's question, you hear campaign finance reform, the Citizens United ruling under Justice Roberts in early 2000s, 2008, I want to say, whatever it was. How much of a factor is that in all this?
For me, not. I stay out of the campaign. I intentionally am not hired by the campaign. So I you can choose to stay out of it. I think that's a good example, right? I am not a campaign person. I don't want to be on the campaign right now. That's not where my best use of time is. If I were on the campaign and I was backed by one of these campaign finances or some donor for President Trump, right? And I was getting paid that way, people would, I think, discredit some of what I say. And I think that's just a choice. Are we going to stop it? The reality is, no. We're not.
There's no.
They try and reform it. They try.
Reformed.
I mean, I think they're trying to be as exposed. They're trying to expose as much as they can, and you can do your research and do it and look at who's giving to who and what. But I don't know. I don't know that it will ever happen, to be honest. I mean, the country is a political country. In a way, that's what makes us a democracy, right? Because we do have politics, and it's gotten completely out of control.
And isn't the entire premise of that, you'll way more of an expert than us on this.
I'm not a campaign expert.
No, but you understand law, and I mean, this is your lawyer representing Donald Trump. Isn't it the fact that corporations are people?
Yeah.
Isn't that what essentially the argument is at Citizens United?
Yeah, they are people. They are people, and they have voices, and they also have a lot of money. But, I think it's up to the candidates. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
You can get somebody could fund me and say, here, I'm giving you $1 billion to run for president, and I'm going to fund you. But if I'm not going to be one of those puppets, like, that's just not who I am. I never would be. President Trump never would be. He wouldn't come in and be like, I promise to make you. It's just not who he is. I know that because he treats us all that way. I had to earn my stripes with him. You have to earn respect, and nothing you do, will give him that. No check writing will do that for him. So I will say there are others like Pelosi's and Schumer's that make me concerned, whether it's corporate, whether it's, some entity that's looking for wokeness and to transition your children at 2 years old. I can't have that. I mean, but they'll do. Some of them will sign their life away for anything.
So it's interesting you said that about Pelosi. I think we need to give her proper respect. Rob, if you can pull up some of the the greatest stock pickers of 2023, she will be upset. Because she dropped. She dropped off.
Dropped?
No, she dropped. She's going to be upset with this report. Go ahead. Can you pull it all the way down to the numbers, Rob? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Here's who led the way in 2023 in stocks held and the returns in 2023. Look all the way at the top. Can you zoom in a little bit? Brian, we got to properly recognize these guys. Brian Higgins, 238% rate of return in 2023.
Democrat.
Mark Green, 122.
Republican.
Garrett Graves, David Rouser, all above 100%. Seth Moulton, Ron Wyden, Joel Rutherford, Richard Blumenthal, 68, Pelosi, 60. She dropped off. I mean, that's very disappointing.
God.
She's now number 9. She's in the top 10, but I'm sure
Her intel must not have been there for her this year.
Knowing how competitive she is, she's probably very frustrated with this list. But going back to it, you said, the whole idea about, you got to earn your stripes working with him. Okay, you're young, and President Trump's been around the block. God knows how many lawyers he's hired over the years. We've had friends that have worked with him. High standards, high expectation, driving everybody around him. He's a guy that sells. He's a guy that drives. He's a guy that pushes, challenges, all of that, right? How do you earn your stripes with a guy like President Trump?
I would say there's two things. Number one, you have to work hard. There's not an easy day since I've started working with the president. He doesn't like lazy. There's obviously a tremendous amount of, I hate to use this word, but grifters. There's a lot of grifters around, and we see them, we feel them. It's tough to be around, but he sees through that. And sometimes we don't catch them, and they come out and bite us, but you have to work hard. You can't be there for the ride for free to just come on and use his name, and you can't avoid them all the time. But I think he knows with me, look, I was a member at his club before I worked for him. I always say that. I like people to know that because I like to say that I earned my stripes prior to President Trump. I was independently successful and always worked hard. I graduated college in 3 years. I started a firm when I was in my 20s. That's who I am. And those people are very different than the people who are not known, get to know him, and then hop on the bandwagon. That's just different. And they can earn their stripes, and he'll respect that. But you got to work hard. you got to work hard. It doesn't hurt that I win cases. That helps. Winning always helps. He doesn't want anybody on his team representing him that's, going to keep failing, of course. So that helped. I won my first case with him very quickly, and it kind of went from there. And then outside of that, I think loyalty. It's something he talks about all the time, but loyalty in not a cryptic mafia way. I hate using that word because people then say, look at this person, now they're in jail because they were too loyal. Like, no, just loyalty, meaning you're not here to use him and then go somewhere else. You're here because you want to be, because you believe in it, and you're loyal to that cause. And the cause for me is America and it's my children. So that's my loyalty, and he knows that. My goal is not anything but that. So
how much do you think, well, let me phrase it this way. You're capable, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're loyal, you have all the qualifications, but you're also an attractive woman.
Yeah.
We saw what happened with Johnny Depp when, Amber Heard's on the stand, and Johnny Depp's lawyer, female, capable, amazing.
Right.
There's just a different dynamic when a woman is questioning a woman, or a woman is basically representing a man. Say what you will about Trump, alpha man.
Right.
You would suspect he picks an alpha guy, but he picks a feminine, smart, capable woman.
Right.
How much of you being an attractive, smart woman do you think played into a role in this?
To him or in the public? Because I can tell you it's been a double-edged sword.
Yeah, both.
It's been something I have had to deal with in the positive and in the negative. I don't think I would be on TV or sitting here if I didn't look the way I look. I think I caught attention. Mm-hmm. I'm very honest about that, and I don't mind. I'm not a feminist, okay? I believe in strong women, but I want my door opened. I am very much an old school, my parents are Middle Eastern, old school woman. I when I'm at home, I cook, I have a husband, I respect, I know how to turn it off. But do I not think that if, I'll tell you something. Somebody said to me, Alina, would you rather be smart or pretty? And I said, oh, easy, pretty. I can fake being smart. But,
I meet him all the time, Alina.
That's the honest truth, and it's going to make me, I'm sure there'll be some Washington Post article about it tomorrow, Daily Beast, my favorite. But listen, you have to be honest. It doesn't hurt to be good looking in this world, in the PR world, on TV. It doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. And when you're good looking, that's great, but it can also mean people think you're stupid, or people think that President Trump hired me because I was good looking. That is absolutely not the case. And I've won cases, many cases for him. I've won many cases before him. I represent other people. I've owned my own law firm. I'm independently, like I said, I'm a hard worker. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a combination of both. And if anybody wants to pretend otherwise, then you're just being silly.
Now, when you said double-edged sword, obviously anyone that represents Trump, or Trump himself, the media is just going to try to eviscerate. Do you think that the media has maybe treated you a little bit more fairly because you're a woman? Believe all women, everything that's going on in the media, the feminist movement. Do you think they've been harder on you, or equally?
When I first started, they were awful. I remember the first hit piece I got. There was the Daily Beast did an article on me, Jose Palgieri. And it was probably 2 days in, or 2 months into me actually working for him. And it said the one Trump lawyer everybody hates. And they talked about how they thought I was hired because I was pretty, how the rest of the attorneys at Trump Org and on the Trump team didn't like me. All probably true, by the way. He definitely had sources. There were quotes. And at that moment, I have to tell you, it was the hardest. I remember laying on the floor. I'm a human being. I laid on the floor in my office in Bedminster. I shut the door and I cried. And I was like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Really?
And I'm a tough cookie. But I remember what I did was I was in court on the Attorney General case when it was still a special proceeding. It's been going on for 3 years. And I saw Jose Palgieri in the back row. And he can attest to this. I walked right up to him. And I said, you wrote the nastiest hit piece on me.
Damn.
And he was shocked. And I said, I don't appreciate it. And my family doesn't appreciate it. And I said, when you actually want to get to know me, you let me know.
Wow.
And since then, Yeah, there it is. There's the first. There. What's the date
one?
on that? I can't even see. November 2nd,
22.
2020.
No, but it was published
No.
March 21st, 22.
Yeah.
March 21st. So I had been working with him for a few months, almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And I got ridiculed. Yeah, her name is almost out of nowhere, relatively unknown. That's so not true. I had cases that were in the news prior that were big cases. And, you know, it's just crazy. But he, to this day, is somebody now I speak to, Jose. He'll still write some hit pieces, but he got to know me. And he won't write them like that.
That's great. You held him accountable.
Respect. Good for you.
Last question on this topic, because this fascinates me.
Yeah.
How you can be attractive and feminine and capable, but also balance being
This is a personal
woman.
question,
This is a
he's
personal
asking.
question.
He's looking
it is.
for a
But
wife,
so
so-
does our audience.
Looking
I
for a
think.
wife.
How
Will I
do you?
find one for you?
I asked. Yeah, hook me up. I asked the same question to Candace Owens. I asked the same, but you know, the two don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can be an attractive and you can be a businesswoman. How do you balance that?
I think, like I said, you have to have boundaries. There has to be a place where you're feminine and you're. And by the way, I'm still feminine. I wore a pink suit to court in the attorney general case and did a press conference. It was on one of the ones that was most put on. And look, part of my brand, if I even have a brand yet, but brand is that I like to dress well. I like nice things. I don't feel like I have to wear a plain blue suit and a turtleneck and put my hair in a ponytail. It's not who I am. I used to work in fashion. I love that part of me. So why do I have to, you know, I put a post up, for instance, this is a good example. I put a post up, I was at a UFC fight and I was
Beautiful
wearing
necklace.
a dress.
You had a nice
yeah, we
necklace
can
on.
talk
I
about
love
my
that
gorgeous
thing.
necklace. I did not see that one coming. So I go up there and I'm wearing a dress. I'm 39 years old. I'm not wearing a dress down to my ankles. I'm not wearing a turtleneck. I'm going to dress my age. And how dare you dress like that? You're Trump's lawyer. And I just want to say to all those people, I'm a human being. I have a husband. I have a life. And I'm 39. I'm going to be who I am. Now, I'm obviously respectful. I'm not going to come out looking like, you know, you don't want to encourage bad comments, but I am who I am and I own it. And at the end of the day, I think the most important person is when you're with your family at home and who that person is. And that is a much more feminine person, unfortunately on the phone too much, but much more feminine person who cooks, who wants to have a husband take care of her and not be in charge. And I know my place, by the way, when I'm with a team of older lawyers who have a hard time with young females, and that happens. And I know that there's sometimes I have to be more submissive, but I know when the time is, you know, and that's the key. In front of the TV, no, forget it. I am who I am. I'm barking.
March 25th.
March
is
25th
Aries,
is
right?
my
Is
40th birthday.
coming up. You excited about it?
I always thought I'd be depressed about it, and now I'm like, I've done more in 40 years than some people have done in their lifetime. So I'm really happy. I'm proud. I'm excited to see.
You ought to be.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
So let's stay on this topic with specifically. We started off with this topic. We went all over the place. I feel like we got to know you a little bit, but let's go back to the topic. So, okay, Colorado out, Maine out. They got a few more left. That's going to happen. How ugly could this get? The reason why I asked this question, I don't know if you guys have followed this story or not. This year is the biggest election year in the history of the world. Election year. 40 elections happen at the same time. The largest Christian nation, the two largest Muslim nations, all at the same time. 40 plus countries, 3.2 billion people will be voting this year. Will be allowed to vote this year. $44 trillion of GDP all this year, right? So we're talking Pakistan, election this year. India, election this year. U.S., election this year. Belgium, I can go on. There's 40 countries, elections this year, right? Yeah. When there is so many, things going on, the people who have had control behind closed doors that we don't know, what do they fear? They fear losing control, okay? And the number one piece amongst all these 40 elections going on around the world, 3.2 billion people potentially voting, the number one domino, not the second domino, the number one domino is a guy named Donald Trump, okay? So if he gets elected, the people who control can't control him.
Correct.
Because a lot of these other guys can be controlled. So for a voter that's sitting there, I looked at Vox, came out and said 55% chance Trump's going to be the president. Vox is not a conservative side. They're liberal. They're predicting saying 55% chance Trump's going to end up being president this year. So Walk us through. I call 2023 the year of investigations. I called this a year and a half ago. It was all investigations 2023. I'm calling this the year of chaos. I think it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
How crazy, how chaotic could it get? Or do you think, no, it's going to be pretty, temper tantrums. Oh, so Nevada's coming out and they're going to, coming out there. They're just yapping and screaming and hollering. Or could it actually get very, very ugly for the American people to brace for impact?
I mean, I wish I could give, this is what I always say. Look, I know a lot more facts than I can share, and the facts are good. So meaning the witch hunts, let's start there, right? So the number one way that we've seen them try and take him down, the chess piece, is through legal cases. And that is what I know. And without getting into facts that I know that'll come out, it's no different than any other case. When you know the facts as an attorney and you know what actually happened behind closed doors and you know what he did and didn't do, not what the press is saying he did, not what the Jack Smiths are saying he did or want you to believe he did, the real facts, the fear level comes down a lot. Then it becomes very simple. We have to be able to fight a corrupt organization. That's what it is. It's corrupt. And that's where my fear only lies, in that, I'm in front of judges that we can give them the facts and they are clean. Look at my last trial I just ended. But if you have a judge who wants to get Trump, wants to take him down, wants to be a part of taking the chess piece down. If you have this main woman, I don't even know her name. That's how little I care. What's her name? Whatever. You have this woman wanting to be a lawyer, wanting to be a part of this liberal radical movement. And we don't have the ultimate court, the Supreme Court, check these people. That's when we're in trouble. But I do still have faith in the Supreme Court. So I think that right now for Donald Trump, for taking that piece off, it all goes, frankly, up to the Supreme Court, because everything we're talking about is election interference.
Thank God, yeah.
Listen, there is.
Techman.
Oh, what a genius.
No. Go ahead. Please finish. I want to finish your thoughts and I have a follow-up for you.
Yeah. But I think that we have to remember that everything we're worried about with Trump is legal. There's a reason his lawyer is his spokeswoman. It's because it's all being used in courts and through laws, Constitution. It all goes up to the Supreme Court. And I really believe there is a checks and balances that still exists in this country. The executive branch, is one person, but we all know that there's 100 other people behind it right now. But the Supreme Court stands independently. And that's on purpose. And that's why our founding fathers created it. So I believe that they will handle it. I believe that, look, what Jack Smith just got shut down. He was trying to rush. They said, nope. So as long as they stay firm, I have no fear. Because I will not win every case. Let me be very clear. You cannot. You cannot. You have people that are not listening to what you're saying. I'll get in court and I will say there were no victims. Deutsche Bank made money. Letitia James is using a completely inappropriate statute. Here's the facts, and here's a Nobel executive expert who's going to tell you that this is complete BS. And the judge will go, no, that's fine. I'm going to lose. That's fine. But I need the Supreme Court to be the one that has the reason, the one that holds America together right now. That's where I think this country needs to be strong.
Okay. By the way, just think about it. So Trump's first president that flips 3 seats, right?
Yeah.
Say he doesn't.
That's what I was just going to ask.
If he doesn't flip those 3 seats, you're asked out.
Yeah.
Literally, right? I
mean,
if you,
screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed. There's nothing, by the way, nothing he can. So paint a picture. Say the Supreme Court is 6-3 the other way around, whatever, 5-4, 6-3 the other way around, okay? And you don't have any protection there. How ugly could it have gotten for the president if Supreme Court was the other way, flipped 6-3?
Look, if they have it their way, they would have him in jail.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
if you need me to say it, I'll say it. It's absolutely true. They would have him in jail because they can't. The movement, the American movement, it's not a MAGA movement. It's an American movement. It's people afraid of losing our country. And it's a movement because I'm scared. I'm scared of what I've seen, and that is the problem. And that's why they get behind Trump. So if you can't beat him, if you're worried that stealing an election may get screwed up, what else do? You put your opponent in jail. And that's, you tell me that Jack Smith, Fannie, D.A. Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, you tell me that those people wouldn't have a private party if Donald Trump was in jail.
Of course.
That's sick.
Overnight.
That's sick.
Right, but go there, so now flip it. So strategy, let's talk about strategy, is they're not dumb, right? So they know they don't have Supreme Court. They know it. They don't have it, right?
Right.
So you're pushing Maine, Colorado. Are they celebrating, saying, "Oh, look what we did! Oh, we impeached the president. He's the most impeached president of all time." Hey, look at Colorado, Maine, try to remove off the ballot, but you failed. Yeah. Are they thinking that that's helping them? Are they that dumb to think that going about trying to get them off Maine and Colorado, but failing is a victory? Like, they're not dumb. These are not dumb manipulators. So how do they see that as a victory, knowing Supreme Court doesn't have their back?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that they're all working in tandem all the time. I think the individual from Maine was not being very bright, to be honest. I think that was a silly move, and it's going to flip people. Colorado, I mean, the minute they said he was off the ballot, the reaction is, oh, we could win Colorado. Like, they're not understanding. I don't know. You're right, they're not dumb. But I think their point is to disrupt and concern and make everyone scared that this person's a predator. He's a fraudster with banks. He's a this, he's a that. Insurrectionist. I have a trial coming up. Same thing. They're going to do the woman card again. And it's like, they just don't stop. Now, again, another funded lawsuit. Yep. Reid Hoffman funding that lawsuit.
LinkedIn,
he funded the first one, and then I think he dropped out or whatever. But this is all legal warfare. At the end of the day, they aren't that bright because people want to make a name for themselves. And I think they thought they were I'll be honest with you. I think they thought we're all going to do it. We're going to attack and we're going to make it happen before the 2024 election. These cases are years and years old. They're from when he was president, some of them. And Georgia, for instance. You waited years. Letitia James, 3 years I've been on that case. That case was in a special proceeding for 3 years. The minute they filed the complaint, they wanted the case in 6 months. So they want to destroy credibility in his business, which is where everybody has confidence in President Trump because the country was run like a business. They want to destroy him with women. My Bergdorf Goodman case coming up. He'll get, money damages, another judge that's anti-Trump. We will see the whole thing. And then they want to destroy him criminally, make you believe he's a criminal and anti-American, insurrectionist, anti-American. They want to hit him on all fronts. And by the way, we don't even know what the October surprise is going to be. I feel like I've been in an October surprise for a year. But they're trying to hit you so that you lose faith in him. But what they're forgetting is you're so obvious that we have more faith in him because he hasn't quit. I would have quit. I mean, he has not quit. He has not come down. He has not stopped talking. He has not become more reserved. He is who he is. And I'm not worried in that regard, but I'm telling you, they would try and put him in jail.
Rob, can you pull up that article? The first article we covered 2 days ago, that America wants a strong, tough. You know which one I'm talking about. If you just type that, it'll come up. So, a story came out. Left, right, center doesn't matter. Only reason I'm showing this to you is because some of the people that are going to watch this podcast. Okay, go lower, and so look at this chart here. Across the political spectrum, Americans seek tough leaders who will crack down. Okay, so you'll see the dark green, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And then you'll see on the left the categories they have: a strong Democrat, not strong, lean Democrat, independent, lean Republican, etc., all the way to the bottom. Obviously, all the way to the bottom, what do you notice? 90% agree that America seeks a tough leader that will crack down, okay, all the way at the bottom. A strong Democrat, though, is still 59%.
Yeah.
They strongly agree or agree, okay? Only 42% disagree and strongly disagree. By the way, that is catastrophic. Nothing about this category represents Joe Biden, because if you go all the way to the top of the article, go all the way to the top of the article. So it says, what are the key words? Strong. Biden is not strong. Rough. Biden is not rough except when he's going down the stairs. anti-democratic leader. Okay, they would call Biden a democratic leader, let's just say. And the way they wrote this article, obviously it's a little bit of a wordsmithing and kind of manipulation that's going with it. But do you think America's kind of sitting there saying, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You think even some of the people on the left are sitting there saying, what do you think you're doing to this guy? Like, we don't even like the guy, but you're making us like the guy.
You're making us like
You're making us like the guy that we didn't like, 4 or 5 years ago. You think that's kind of happened in America?
A lot of people say that to me all the time. Like, we were on the fence, or we were left, and now we're not. And you see that a lot with especially minorities or people that feel like they're unfairly prosecuted and come into this country from other countries where they've seen the banana republic. A lot of those people, like my family, get more behind Trump because we know where this is going. We know where this is going. Now, it's not a joke, TikTok destroying our children's mentality and lack of strong home base, lack of faith is destroying our culture. And once you dismantle all of that, we're easily manipulated. And we believe that a man that can't walk and eats ice cream is not being backed by Obama, who's still in Washington. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm not. But I'm not a stupid person. And I know that man can't run the country. And I know when Epstein's list comes out and one name's blacked out and Bill Clinton's been doing, we saw it yesterday.
He likes them young.
He likes them young. Why are they not in jail? You're a pedophile. That's called a pedophile.
Yep.
So this is where our country is headed. And I do think that people that come from other countries that were not necessarily wealthy or came from third world countries and come to this country the right way, by the way.
Yeah.
When they come to this country the right way, they appreciate what we have and they're afraid of losing it and they're holding on to it strong and they realize Donald Trump's the only way we're going to keep it.
So, and
You
Alina,
said real quick, because on this thing, you said a key word right there, and I don't want to skip it. You said manipulated. Because I feel like a lot of people in America feel like they've been manipulated. Let me unpack that. They say like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I feel like there's a lot of people in America, especially swing voters.
A president in the past said it in a different way, and I thought it was more entertaining.
Fool me once. I can't get fooled again.
can't get it. You know what I'm saying,
Shout out.
everybody. War criminal, but go ahead.
Shout out to Colin for that one. But I feel like a lot of people in America feel like they've been fooled, and they're not going to let it happen again. What do I mean? We all know what the media has done. And a lot of this has basically sort of been exasperated since COVID, whether it's the jab, whether it's, trust the science, whether it's Fauci, whether it's what's going on the woke left, whether we're seeing going on with Hamas and the Hamas brigade going on out there, whether it's the trans stuff, all this with the feminist stuff, everything. I feel like there's just a lot of just normal Americans, people that have voted for George W. Bush, that have voted for Biden, that have voted, for Obama, that have voted for Trump. They flip. Americans are bipolar. Every 4 to 8 years they vote for somebody else.
But that's
There's a
okay.
lot of them. It's totally fine.
Yeah, it's the American way.
I mean, I'm talking about the people in Michigan, talking about the people in Pennsylvania, the people in Wisconsin, swing states, battleground states. I feel like there's a lot of people basically saying, you guys got me the first time on Trump. All the Mexicans are raping. Okay. All the stuff that they put out there, good people on both sides, all the media. I feel like they're hip to the game now.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're looking at the situation right now and they're like, not a fan of Trump necessarily, the personality, what have you, but what I'm seeing over here on the left, I just can't condone. And I mean, I'm one of those people who are like,
Yeah.
But I feel like at this point we do see that we're losing our values.
He campaigned for Joe Biden just 3 years ago.
In a dress.
Not just nonetheless.
I never campaigned for anybody. Zero. I don't love any politician.
By the way, I don't like politics.
Yeah, I don't.
Can
I
be honest?
don't bow to any politician
No.
whatsoever.
But
it's a part of our
But
country.
it's
She has to
by the
know
way,
the truth, Pat.
you may be the most important person at the table.
Always.
Because
I mean,
we did a $1,000 bet on who was going to win the election last time, and he voted and he won.
Yeah.
In 2020, just so you know.
Wow.
So yeah, that's so for him to go from there to where he's at now.
That's exactly what I'm
That's
talking
the
about.
point of
To be
America.
clear, I followed the money. The odds were Joe Biden was the favorite. Whoever the favorite is in Vegas, I'm going to take.
Yeah. So if you're going to hang on, so you're going to say something like that. Now you're going to be held accountable. Hang on a second. Fine. So did you?
wasn't a Trump
No. Wait a minute. You followed the money because of Vegas odds. Great, but did you also vote the same way with Vegas odds?
Yes.
Yes, so you also voted. That's not following the money. You can follow the money and vote the other way if it's just about the money. You also didn't want to vote for Trump.
Thank you, Pat, for bringing it up for the 1,000th time. I really
Well,
appreciate
because
that, Pat.
publicly,
No,
I gave you
Especially in front of
$1,000
Trump's
bucks.
spokeswoman.
Okay, I gave you $1,000 on a
$10,000 for
Yeah.
that bet. Follow the money.
but the point-
thank you. I'm sure
but
the
the-
audience
the
have no
po-
But if you
idea.
follow the money now, Hunter Biden's money goes right into Biden.
Yeah. I would like to pardon that guy,
FYI,
but other than that,
FYI, the whole point is
yes.
millions of people, believe it or not, feel like he does.
I agree.
I'm telling you, millions of
agree.
people feel like he does.
And it's because of what they're doing.
It's because
So
of what
thank
they're
you.
doing. Yeah.
But that's my point. That's the point that
Yeah.
I'm making is there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like either of them. I mean, look, let's be clear. Nobody wants to see a Trump-Biden rematch. I'm just letting you know. But based on this rematch, there's a lot of people being like, I'll take Trump.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They'll hold their nose.
I don't
You've
think
heard
it'll
this
be
thing.
Biden. I don't trust them that it'll be Biden.
Everyone says that.
I don't.
And,
It won't
and everyone's going to keep
Sneaky,
saying that.
sneaky.
And then in November, you're going to have a choice
well-
of Biden, Trump.
Yeah, well, and Lina, and we're still being in this. When
By
you
the way,
hear
look at the odds there. Trump is
Trump
one
moved
now.
up. Yeah.
Biden's 2.
Remember, look
Haley's
at Gavin.
3.
You remember how Gavin's
And
moving up?
Newsom,
By the way,
this is
snake-
Vegas.
The
But
snake
by the
is
way,
moving.
Biden was number one until literally today.
Yeah, no, well,
We haven't
Michelle
seen
is
this list.
sixth. Michelle is sixth.
Michelle is still in the mix. So Lina, in regards to, we keep hearing election interference.
Yeah.
When you hear that, and I love doing this, it's called cheating. okay?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm tired of hearing election
Blaming.
interference. And by the way, the left has been doing it. And say what you want, they always blame our side. Russian collusion they tried with the DNC with Hillary.
Don't
fake
even get me
impeachment.
started
Don't
on
even get me. All the impeachment, all that BS crap. Okay, if this tactic that they're doing right now with everything that you're involved with fails, and he's allowed to be on the ballot, the left plays to win. Let's be honest, they'll stop at nothing. What other tactic or tactics do you think they would use? Because we saw the movie Leave the World Behind. It's almost like they're letting us know cyber attack might happen. They've warned us about pandemic number 2.
the China virus number 2.
Yeah, China virus number 2. What's the other?
So
and by the
scare
way,
tactics.
Open border. So if a terrorist attack, if it comes
And they're going to
down-
vote, by the way. Those are-
1,000%.
all those migrants are voting.
Like 1,000%.
Yeah.
So, Lina, if it
Ridiculous.
comes down to it where they're like, oh, crap, none of the stuff with the law is working and we're getting close, do you think that they are willing to pull the trigger on something else to disrupt the election?
People have told me you should be worried that they're going to actually try and kill him.
I was just going to ask you that, too. How scared is he? How worried is he? Because
he's not.
He's not, because he has his own security, correct?
But it's not about security. It's about, you don't think people have been trying that
Yeah.
for, I mean, now since
doesn't give me the vibes. He doesn't give me
2015,
the vibes.
he is not a fearful man, right? He's not. At the end of the day, it's not about how much security he has. Look, if somebody wants to hurt somebody, they will.
Yeah.
I've had people try and kill me. I mean, I'm his lawyer. Oh yeah. But you know, crazy people writing letter. I'm going to kill you when I get out of jail.
Yeah.
I'm going to come after you. And this guy raped and killed a 5-year-old. He's in some Tennessee jail. You know, I've had to file a criminal. It's crazy the world we're in right now. But that's my point. Like, desperation makes you crazy. So I don't think they'll stop at anything. I think that at the end of the day, they will, like I said, try and put him in jail. They'll try anything they can. But more importantly, it's our election integrity that concerns me. Because let's say he's still on the ballot. Let's say he's in jail. Let's say all those things happen. We have to go vote. So what's the last step? What's the last step then? Mail-in ballots, migrants voting, no voter ID, and the states have to handle that. He can't handle it. The states have to handle that. And I really wish they would start really getting a grip on it. I always say, why can't we have clear ID for voting? Like, I go to the airport, I have clear ID. I go in there, they scan my eyes.
Yep.
I got one ticket. I vote. That's it. No one's screwing with it. The machines aren't shut
Isn't that
down.
machine racist, though?
I was
Doesn't
just
it
going
kinda
to say,
make you feel
Alina,
like
you're talking about IDs.
sizing
I don't
you
know if
up?
you've been keeping up
It's
with
a
the
little
news.
offensive,
It's
no?
racist because apparently the left thinks black people in Georgia don't know how to get IDs. So that's racist to think that they would know how to
guess
get.
what? Then are you actually prepared to vote for the person who's running your country, making economic decisions, keeping us out of war,
Yep.
things like that? Like, look, there has to be a level. There's a reason we don't allow children to vote. You know, you have to be smart. And at the end of the day, not everyone's always going to be included. It's America. We're not, we have rules, we have laws, we have regulations. We can't act like those regulations make you a racist, make you, you're not saying the correct pronoun, therefore you hate humanity. Like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Alina, this ID situation, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but it boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I got to show my ID if I'm going to buy liquor. I got to show my ID if I'm going to go to a club. I gotta anything. You need ID.
Yeah.
Sorry. Voting? Like, the number one thing that you could do as a citizen is vote.
Yeah, I think that's
why
by design.
is it such a sticking point where it's racist to have an ID? You can't expect
because
people to have
they can't
IDs.
cheat.
I don't understand the ID bullshit.
You can't cheat.
Exactly.
You can't cheat.
Oh my God.
You can't cheat. It's very simple. Why can't we get ID to vote for the president of this country? Well, we can, but they don't want us to.
Yeah, that's why the border has been for the past 4 years. As we speak right now, Alina, the border completely open, 8 million people in. And guess what? Those people, when they come in, you know what they tell them? Joe Biden did this, Democrat, go in.
They probably give them a voting thing when they pass go and go like, you're going to check blue.
Yeah.
Okay?
They give them a cell
this
phone,
is
too.
why you're here. Here's your cell phone. Here's a hotel room in New York.
100%.
And here's your voting. Here's your ballot. I want you to take this and maybe 3 more copies, put it in the mail, and you're going to help us steal the election.
I agree.
I think that's what could be happening.
Yep.
I do.
Unbelievable. Can I go back to what Pat was discussing with the Supreme Court? Because this is really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try this, by the way.
Yeah, go for it. Vault, it'll jack you
And
up.
it's cucumber, so you're Middle Eastern. You're going to love it.
So the Supreme Court, right?
It's really good.
The Supreme Court. We've seen what's happened in Colorado. That was a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Maine is a week ago, whatever it is. Rob pulled up the image of, there's a dozen other states that are considering moving Trump on the ballot. I think 17 to be exact.
Right.
So walk us through what it means to be the Supreme Court, because they're not going to hear all
have
these
time.
court
No,
cases.
they'll make
from
one
every
decision.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll make one
So they're going to
decision.
set a national precedent,
That's
law of the
right.
land. Here's what I learned about the Supreme Court from PBD, and kudos to PBD. 2020, Pat starts the podcast. We're doing it. They're talking about, you guys don't understand how big of a deal it is that they flipped these Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing things like, well, Democrats, Joe Biden's going to pack the court. They're going to pack the court, right? There's 9 justices. Is that what it is? Yeah. Or they're going to go up to 11. They're going up to 13. People are like, how the hell do you even pack the court?
They wanted to add.
I'm like, what the hell is this even all about? The Supreme Court packing the court? We're learning things. We're like, what is this going down here?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a 6-3, right? So, there's a liberal side of things. You've got Sotomayor, and you've got Kagan, and then you have sort of the right. You got the Clarence Thomases of the world, and you got the Alitas of the world. But then you have sort of, let's just say, more moderate, whether it's Comey Barrett, or whether it's Gorsuch, or whether it's the Supreme Court Justice Roberts, whatever. But at the end of the day, Trump appointed the people who are the moderates, the Gorsuch, the Amy Coney Barrett. So if this does go to the Supreme Court, walk us through how this works, the vision of this, because it's 6-3.
Listen, this is what's going to happen. It's not really about the other states, right? You asked me about these other states could do it. It's not going to matter at this point, because we just, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, filed with the Supreme Court for Colorado. Maine, obviously, on appeal. But one decision needs to be made, because they're all trying, and Maine tried to do it under some small section, I guess, or whatever it is. But we just have to have acknowledgement as to what the rules and regulations are here. To me, it's not something I'm worried about, because it's so obvious. It's so clear cut. There's due process. There's an antiquated and completely misplaced 14th Amendment being used. There's just basics here that haven't happened, that a decision that he could be off the ballot at this point,
Right.
to me, would be mind-blowing. So I'll be honest with you. You obviously have concerns about all the other states, and I don't. I think the Supreme Court is going to see it. I'm not worried about if you're moderate or if you're left, because I think this is one of those really clear-cut constitutional issues that should just be hands down.
And how can you remove someone from like Supreme Court?
Yeah.
He hasn't been found guilty of everything. You can think that it was an insurrection all you want.
Yeah,
okay?
it was a headline for them, and
sure,
I think
but
that
he hasn't been found guilty of anything.
He hasn't even been charged
been
with
charged.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
So how do
never
you
mind
remove
guilty.
He's
You're
not
not even
charged.
charged.
That's my point here. So like you talk about due
That's why
process.
I'm not
He hasn't
concerned,
been
yeah.
charged. He hasn't been found guilty. None of it.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's
how do
desperate.
they
It's
remove
called-
someone
I know
from a ballot?
You're struggling to understand something because it's a point of
Been a challenge with
desperation.
us with Adam.
listen, guys,
For
we're
a few
working
years.
on it.
you know
We're trying
why?
to improve.
Do you know
We're trying
why?
to strategize.
Because
we're trying to outlast things.
because facts, common sense don't apply. So think desperation, and that will get you there.
Hail Mary.
You know what I would say to you, to me, this is going to end up making for one of the greatest movies you'll ever watch in 10 years.
know.
Okay, I'm telling you right now.
I know.
About 10 years.
I always say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there going to be a documentary, you think?
I think it's going to be a movie or a doc. And if it's a doc, it'll be like a 2-season type of deal. But because what could end up happening, history's going to, validate.
History will be kind to him.
No, Churchill said, history will be kind to me for I intend to write it, right? So
right.
He's writing it. But the part that you have to be also thinking about is he's not campaigning right now. He's not out there. But this may be by far the biggest campaign donation help in the world, if you think about it.
Yeah.
One time, Joe, when they were going after Joe, Rogan, when he was, comments he made 15 years ago when he was 4 years old or whatever, comment there was something about Joe said this and Joe said that. And I made a video. I said, do you guys realize, I was counting all the views on how much media wrote. I said, do you know how much it would cost you to get this kind of media press?
Yeah.
I said nearly $300 million, okay? I said, Joe ought to send a thank you letter to everybody saying, thank you for giving me $300 million of free coverage. How much free coverage is Trump getting? What is the difference between what they're doing today versus 2015, 2016, when everybody wanted to have him on and just trash him, right?
Russia.
CNN, MSNBC, everybody was having him on, and all of a sudden, like, guys, we've been giving him a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
We got to stop this, knock it off. What's going to happen? So anyway, that's
But
not
that happened here too. Don't forget this year with Fox. They didn't have us on for a while.
That's right. And you guys are now doing that. And by the way, are you still the senior advisor for Trump Super PAC, MAGA? Are you still an advisor?
No, I am actually now. No, I'm not involved with MAGA Inc. I am actually the general counsel and spokeswoman for the Save America PAC.
Okay, got it. So you're the GC. You're the GC dealing with them legal
The GC,
side.
yeah. I thought I would just be the GC, and then all of a sudden I was back on trial, and I was like, but I love what I do, and if he needs me there, that's what I do.
Great. So the reason why I asked this question is this. So CNN is doing a Republican debate, okay, which somehow, some way, a guy who, is very eloquent, great communicator, didn't make it, didn't qualify. His name is Vivek Ramaswamy. And DeSantis made it, and Haley made it, and Trump made it. Obviously, Trump's not going to be there because he's doing a town hall same day with...
He doesn't need to be.
He doesn't need to be. He's going to be doing that with Fox.
Right.
So what do you think about, Vivek, calling out Ronna McDaniel, and then now CNN is saying you're not qualified to be on stage, and it's just going to be Haley and DeSantis. How much games plays behind closed doors that the average voter doesn't know about?
A lot. I mean, they play games with me. It's a lot. They feel like they're in this position of power. I always say, think of the media like you have a Napoleon complex, okay? And they use their little strength. And CNN, by the way, has very little strength right now. But they'll use their little strength. And they'll say, I'm not putting you on, and that'll hurt you. Like, it's the same thing as the lawsuits. Wake up. You're not hurting Vivek. You're helping Vivek, because now he's going to have some little microphone on Instagram or whatever, and he will get more attention because he's been excluded.
Yeah.
Then just put the guy on. Let them do what they want. Invite them all, but they're so short-sighted. Honestly, I don't understand the thinking because it's so small-minded, and the numbers have shown. The more you try and exclude, the more you try and pound them down, the more their numbers go up. It's just silliness.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have Vivek?
But there is gamesmanship because you'll call them out. They don't like to be called out.
How do you feel about Nikki Haley? How do you feel about Nikki Haley?
Oh,
Here we go.
get me.
There we go.
Spicy.
Come on.
I'm not a political person, so I'm going to start by saying that I'm not on the campaign. I'm not a political person. How do I feel about Nikki Haley? I think she's a flip-flopper. I don't trust her. I wouldn't vote for her. I wouldn't.
Now, what if on a crazy, because there's, of course you don't follow the news and you don't follow what people are saying at all because it's not part of your job and you just kind of like doing your own thing. But there's certain people speculating that there may be a possibility that the Wall Street people behind closed doors with these things called PACs, that they raise a lot of money. PACs, like not PAC-10 like basketball, but
PACs like Save America PAC.
Yes, like Save America type of PACs that are saying, hey, and again, rumors, hey, Mr. President Donald Trump, J. Trump, if you don't consider Nikki Haley as your VP, we are not going to give you the money that you need to go become the president. But if you choose Nikki Haley, we will consider you as a presidential support, money, donors, all that stuff, because the money went from DeSantis to Haley. So this is why President Trump, you should consider
Soros
Nikki Haley
gave her
as a
money.
VP.
Soros gave her
A
money.
lot of people gave her money.
A lot of people gave her money. All I would say to shut that down is very simple. President Trump will never be in a position like that.
So you don't think
He would
President...
never be strong-armed like that.
You
Never.
think he would consider a Haley
He
as
doesn't
a...
need to. He would consider who he wants and who he thinks would be a best fit. I know that for a fact. I mean, he is not going to be one of those. It's true. He's just not.
You think Haley would be a best fit?
Now you're really.
There's no. It's just a couple cameras. It's just like we got
Just a
17
couple
people live
cameras
watching
that'll be
us.
like,
It's
yeah.
we just hit 20. 20
20
people are watching
people.
us
Yeah,
right
this
now.
won't go
guys.
anywhere.
They're all from Minnesota.
Won't go
It's
anywhere.
cold weather.
Nobody's. Yeah.
I don't get ratings ever, so it's not. This will go nowhere. This will be probably your worst watch show. Sorry, not sure why you had me on. Do I think Nick? Look, here's what I think. I don't. I'm not the biggest fan. I used to like Nikki Haley when she was in the White House, but after she's just flip flopping. And I go back to what I always say with Trump: loyalty, and I just don't see that there. And I think that that's concerning for me. Is she going to come in and be a puppet? Is she going to take funding from people that I've already seen that happen just to try and win? I also just don't think in a debate she's incredibly. I mean, I could debate. I really believe, like, if I was completely into politics and knew everything about politics, that I could get up and debate her and have no problem. That's concerning for me. I don't want another Kamala Harris, right? But if the president believes that she would be a good fit eventually, God bless, and I'll get behind her. But right now, no.
I don't see the Nikki thing happening
At all.
Okay.
What do you mean? Are you,
But listen, being blunt, it's no secret that Trump likes attractive, capable women.
Right.
Okay. Whether it's Ivanka Trump, whether it's Marla Maples, whether it's Melania,
Right.
whether it's whoever he has in his corner, whatever's going on, you. So there's an attractive woman out there that's been campaigning with him. Now, I know you don't like giving opinions,
Tell us
but her
the-
name is Christy.
Oh, Christy, no.
Christy Noem. I think she's capable. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's smart.
Yeah, she was in Iowa yesterday.
She was just campaigning with Trump. She's my pick
I love her.
for most likely VP picks. Vinny thinks that it's Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I said not so much in the face. My
Because
opinion.
but hold on, but she's a loyal. But let's be real.
But-
she was taking fire in all those White House
Sure.
press meetings. She was a gangster.
But,
She was
you know,
awesome
Mike Pence
person.
is also
G.
pretty loyal, but where is he?
Yeah,
these
but the
days?
fly in his head
But
was
my
more
point
not
is
loyal
this: in your non-opinionated way, what are the chances he considers
I
someone
have
like
no
Christy
idea.
Noem?
I mean, she's
Come on,
obviously
you met her before.
You're not getting me in trouble. You think I'm stupid? I don't know who he's gonna pick. You ask my opinion. She seems lovely. I don't really know her. I've never even met her.
Oh no.
Maybe we've been at the same events, but no, I really don't know her. A while it was Carrie Lake. It's always somebody. At the end of the day, I can honestly say he does. I don't think he's chosen, and I don't know that when he
I
does
believe
that. I don't think he has.
I don't think he
I
has.
fully
it's
believe
too
he
early.
hasn't
But how
chosen.
about this?
Yeah.
How about
It
this?
is way too early.
Would you say there's a better chance, this is off the record, no one's watching,
course.
that he picks a woman versus a man?
No,
better
I don't think it
chance.
matters to him.
It's
Oh, it has to matter.
No,
It's really
Alina, it has to matter.
it does it. Well,
Yeah.
He
Yes.
picked.
I don't think it.
Adam, he picked Pence.
He picked
Yeah, he picked
Pence.
Pence.
Unless if you identify Mr. Pence as a.
Times have changed, PBD. This
Yeah.
ain't
You know who
2015
it's
anymore.
probably gonna be, guys? Christie.
Yeah, I think so too. But
Now that's pants. Big pants. Not pants.
but Alina,
Boom! Alina drops the hint.
Damn, Alina.
She told everyone who
Chris.
What,
who's
$100,000
Christie
net
coming
worth?
in, huh? And I
Right?
did. Am
$100,000
I gonna
net?
get sued for that? That was
$100,000
just a joke.
But Alina, how let's say hopefully he wins and he beats all this nonsense that they're doing. He's always warned about the swamp. He's always told drain the swamp. He's gonna come back in and deal with all these creatures. How can he trust? No, I know, I feel you. How can you even, because he's going right back in.
Yeah.
How do you trust any of these? Even the people that are like, hey, we're with you.
He
We just-
knows he knows.
Oh, that's why they're
Listen,
so
when he
scared.
first went in, what happens is they, and this is my understanding, right? You go in, okay. It's like me going in to say I'm a professional golfer. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm calling my friend Sergio Garcia. Serge, help me. Tell me what club to buy. He tells me what club to buy.
Tiger.
I don't think I'd call Tiger. Yeah. I'll call Dustin Johnson. I'll call Bryson DeChambeau. I'll call my people. I'll be like, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And you take their advice and you do it. And that's what happened the first time around. Now, very different.
Oh, yes.
I've gone through this. I've weeded out the Bill Barrs. I've weeded out the people that are no good, the people that were actually working on the other agenda but got to stay and they pushed them. The network. He knows the network, which is why I love him going back so much now, because he knows the network in. He's seen the network against him, and now he gets to go back and fix in a major way with people that he trusts. And there will be people that screw him.
Of course.
It's like me saying that I've never hired an associate that's disappointed. It happens.
Yeah.
But it will be so much stronger. It will be so much stronger.
Because I get these arguments all the time, Alina. Sorry, Adam. I get these arguments because I have, cousins that are 100% like nothing. The country is Biden's just doing its infrastructure. It's just, they're all delusional.
Yeah.
But because I have these arguments, they're like, because I'm talking about January 6th and now Christopher Wray, these people had FBI there. You know what they say? Well, Trump appointed them. I'm like, who do you think
didn't appoint them? That's not how it works. And the truth is, I think that it's how it will work. I think he will clean up. I think you got to clean up from the top down. I've said that. I can tell you that I think it's incredibly critical that he puts the right people, especially in the DOJ. I would, press secretary is just the face of, and somebody who's communicating with the press. But to me, where I would want to see the change is in the back. In the back, the press secretary, the DOJ, the people that are enforcing laws, the people that are actually going counterterrorism, things that are really important to us, cartels, making sure there's no, epidemic, no fentanyl uses. Our children are suffering, depression, things like that. We got to work inside out, right? And first of all, people are afraid of Trump, and countries are afraid of Trump, and right now they're not afraid of Biden. So that's what puts me in my most fearful state, is we could go to war because we have such weak leadership.
Alina, when you hear somebody like Vivek say, which I've been watching a lot of it, I'm kind of agreeing. When he's saying something like the FBI can easily be just dismantled and take all those agents and put them in other organizations, could we operate as a country without an FBI?
Without an FBI?
Without an FBI.
I don't know enough about it to say so. I think that there's an importance to national security when it's done right. I think fractured national security sometimes concerns me, because I think if there's no strong leadership in anything, in any company, you have to think of it like a company. You have, different sections, then you have high potential for weakness. You have high potential for somebody to permeate, having a manager of a store in California and a manager of a store in Florida, but they're not interacting and there's no oversight. That concerns me. They got to report up.
Got you.
So I don't necessarily agree with that structure. Okay. As somebody who's run a business since I was 28 years old, I've seen that doesn't work. I tried to open, if you don't have the heads watching, it can go awry.
Yeah, it's just hard though when it comes to the FBI, because going all the way back from the FBI's beginning to Comey and all these guys, their political bias affects what's happening with the presidency, with Russia collusion, with Hillary. It's like
there's contamination.
It's so hard, and it's so hard because you don't know who. Think about it, we're all in the FBI and Pat's in charge, and Pat hates Trump. I don't care what you're going to say. There's going to be investigations. There's going to be stuff happening because of his bias, and we saw it. So it's kind of hard.
I think Vinny actually posed a really good question about draining the swamp, and even before you even answered, you were like, yeah. You kind of got a little Mr. Burns moment right there. But I actually think you're right about your answer about why this time will be different, and I'll unpack it a little bit. I think it's a double-edged sword. So the advantage and the disadvantage of Trump being a businessman who's never been in politics.
Right.
He don't know what he's walking into.
No,
you could say it all he wants. He could say that he's donated to every single campaign and every single politician out there. That doesn't mean you're in the house. You're outside the house making donations.
Right.
You don't really know how it works. Okay? But the difference is like an establishment politician, that's also a double-edged sword, because you know how it works. You're going to play the game. I scratch my back, scratch yours. Funny thing about my back, yada, yada. But this time around, he's been the politician. He's been on the outside. He's been on the inside. Now he knows how it works, the inner workings. He knows the plumbing, but he's also not bought and paid for like a lot of these politicians.
Right.
So I do think that this time around it will be different.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that if you don't know how Washington works,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're going to get run over. You're going to get run amok. You think you're going to have people around you that are helping you. They're all social climbers or political social climbers. There's a lot of people he brought in his circle that did not have his best interest.
No.
So
Many of them were there already, though. Remember that. They were there already, and they were told, this is the guy you want. He was advised. He was leaning on a lot of people to advise him when he went. And I've spoken to him about this and just, wondered. And he's, look, it's going to be different because I now know.
So let me ask you: Is the president Trump a forgiving man once you're, like, for example, let's just say you were disloyal, okay? Now you're back being loyal. Is he forgiving that quickly? And he thinks he can change people's minds and be back with them. And the reason why I ask this question is the following reason. I ask it because this time around, see, like the famous line, because you'd be in jail. Yeah, but she didn't go to jail. Nothing happened to her. And you just said something earlier today. How is it that the Epstein list came out? He should be in jail. Why is he not in jail? So what's he gonna do that a lot of the voters who are saying, okay, if you're gonna say you're gonna clean up, the DOJ is gonna clean up, FBI is gonna, what does that mean? Ray's gonna get fired? Okay, Ray's not. It's a deeper issue than that, right? Yeah. What else is going to happen on second term if you're back in the office? Is it that's probably the biggest. Like some of the people that voted for him that maybe are thinking to come back or sit it out. Like, I just don't think anything's going to change, right? I just don't trust the system because I don't think it's going to do anything. What do you think is going to happen with him being in the office this time, and how quickly do you think he's going to hold those people accountable? Like Fauci hasn't been held accountable.
I think very quickly. I think number one, knowing him. Look, I don't know. I don't speak to him about this. This is not my world, but I know him. I think that if he makes a promise, he'll keep it. Meaning, he needs to do a lot of work. He says, he's like, if we don't get this back quickly, I have to get back quickly to clean up. Number one, you have to pick up the phone and call foreign leaders. You can't be afraid. I don't think that's been happening. You got to pick up the phone just like he used to, like he did with Putin. And people he says Putin's smart. He says this person. Well, they're not stupid. He's not saying they're smart, we should praise them. He's saying you need to not underestimate them. And I think that that's been going on. We're just closing our eyes and ignoring it and letting them permeate every part of this country. So I think he will take a really strong stance, number one, to secure us, to make sure we don't go to war. Number one. And I know
that I believe.
100%.
Yeah.
In terms
because it happened in the 4 years, we didn't have any issues. ISIS disappeared, a lot of things. Yeah. If Trump was president today, Ukraine, Russia.
What is this? We had no wars.
Nothing.
We had brought our boys home. And now we've got, we're leaving from day one, leaving, what was it, $80 billion of equipment and leaving our people in the airport chasing planes.
In Afghanistan.
What the hell is going on? We knew they didn't know what they were doing. It was like they were assisting from day one. Here, take our equipment, take our stuff. Why don't we make you stronger, terrorists? Yeah. Use our amazing goggles and our amazing equipment with the high. What are we doing? He will do what he says. He will be back to old Trump. He is Trump. He will do what he needs to do. And that's not vindictive. It's not somebody coming after people who can. It's not that. We're losing America. I truly believe that. We are losing America, and it's going to be too late if he doesn't get it.
You honestly don't think even a little bit? A little bit. Because he even said on day one.
On day one, I know.
I'll be retribution.
It'll only take me one day.
It'll only take me one day. Listen, we know Trump, okay? Yeah. We could say all the best things about Trump. We could say how bad we need a strong leader in power.
Right.
But there's a little part of Trump that wants to get some people back, that wants to seek retribution. There's a little bit of that. Would you at least admit that?
Absolutely not.
You don't think that Trump...
She's not admitting.
Okay. But would you at least admit that?
What's your question?
Wait, no, I'm saying that Trump, he even said on day one he's going to seek retribution. There's a little part of Trump that is a little like, all right, you fucked with me, I'm going to fuck with you back. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, because you asked me the question.
At least acknowledge that.
1,000% for the past, it'll be 8 years. From the moment he said it, they have been trying to destroy his life. And you know for what? Because this guy loves America. Say what the hell you want. He pulled open the curtain and said, "Hey, America, look at these assholes." That's what he did. And he's been suffering. 100% he deserves to do whatever the hell he's going to do. In the legal, holding people accountable isn't like a
Wait, I was just going to say that. Yeah. Let's just look. If I was his lawyer standing next to him that day that he said it, I would have said, let's instead say we're going to hold everyone accountable. Okay. And that's the real truth, is there should be no reason that somebody gets raided for library books and somebody else doesn't. There should be no reason that a pedophile is exposed and doesn't go to jail. Okay? Yep. But then he is accused by somebody who wants to write books and do whatever of terrible things that are so disgusting that he did not do. So we're going to look at the world and say, that's retribution. That's not retribution. That's called equal justice. That's called due process. They will go through due process. If they didn't do anything wrong, prove it. But we can't keep saying that it's normal that Hunter Biden tried to sneak through with absolute immunity with an agreement that got caught by a judge. Imagine if that judge was a little tired that day and just, or on the take or whatever, and let it go. Thank God for people that are awake. But that's what he's talking about. We need to clean up. We need the country to believe in the country again. We need the country to believe in the justice system again. So yes, there will be accountability. That's what attorney generals do. That's what departments of justice do. They don't target people. They hold people accountable.
And that's the fear, Alina, is the word, because Pat had everybody pick a word for this year. All right, mine was undeniable. I'm going to be undeniable this year. Trump's thing is, like you said, that accountability, that is pumping fear in all these people because they're like, oh my God, he's going to hold our feet to the fire. That's the fear.
By the way, that's what's making them want to put him in jail. That's
exactly
it. Alina, you brought up something. You said, if I was Trump's lawyer and I was standing next to him that day, well, newsflash, you are his lawyer.
I'm not a campaign lawyer. I'm not involved in that.
I'm just saying.
I would have,
He did say, how often, you probably can't answer this, but Letitia James, this stupid bitch, whatever he said, Jack Smith.
By the way, I say that too, so.
Okay. Jack Smith, this corrupt, the woke left,
yeah, but that's
how, as an attorney, how do you say to the president?
Yes.
Just don't say certain things that might affect your case. Yeah. How do you approach that? Because he's Trump gonna Trump. You see, Trump gonna Trump.
Let him.
How, as an attorney, I'm sure there's some things that get frustrated. Other attorneys have said this, where it's like, don't talk about that for now. How do you deal with something like that?
I mean, I'm not going to break privilege. I can tell you that any client that I deal with has a right to speak their mind. It's called the First Amendment. When you're the leading political candidate of a country that's falling apart, I think you're angry. I think that comes out however way he wants. It gets him the attention that's making him lead in the polls. I think Americans feel angry. And when they see his anger, it's what makes him relatable. So I'm not here to advise him on how to be a strategist. I'm not here to advise him on his campaign. I'm here to be his lawyer. So as his lawyer, what would I do? I would say, don't use words that could get you sued. Don't, be careful. That's what I would say to any client if you're in the public eye. I mean, there's just, it's the reality of the world we're in, right? It's anybody. Defamation is really what we're talking about. So that's the only thing that I worry about is defamation. Gag orders, unfortunately, have become part of what I have to deal with. I was gagged. I never even said anything, but I was gagged because they didn't want me to say something. And I couldn't even say something in the court on the record. I'm still gagged. In the AG case.
Vinny, not that kind of gagged, bro. Relax.
No, not that kind of.
I know what.
Gag
relax.
order. Yeah. Gag order. But yeah, I mean, you can't, and I wouldn't. My advice to him is as any lawyer would be careful of certain words, choose them wisely, but it's President Trump. I mean, I have respect for the man. He led the free world. I mean, who am I to tell him what not to say? Yeah, I'm his lawyer. I'll advise him, but he's got a ton of people around him. And at the end of the day, it's him. It's his brand. It's who he is.
Let's go to the last topic here before we wrap up.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, which is the Jeffrey Epstein list that came out last night. Middle of the night, Twitter's going bonkers. Videos you're seeing. Some videos are extremely, Stephen Hawking. I don't know if you saw some of the cartoons.
He was,
They-
all the cartoons were horrible,
Yeah.
and apparently he was in underage orgies. Like
Yeah.
I can't even picture.
Even
And his
Hawking?
email saying to hide it, and they
Hide
would pay
Oh, this
anybody
is
that
so
would say.
good for me.
It's not funny, but Stephen Hawking. Oh, and they said Alan Dershowitz, Pat. I guess Epstein forced underage girls to have sex with Alan Dershowitz.
what does that mean, though?
Force, like go have like making them have sex with the guy.
Allegedly.
But
That's in the court
Let's just
case.
use the word allegedly.
Well, first of all,
Allegedly-
there's 91 charges in Trump's court case. That doesn't mean he did that. You know, it's. I never ever would. You know, Alan, I have a lot of respect for. I think he's an incredibly smart person. There are literally groups coming after attorneys that speak their mind, and he's liberal. And I just respect intelligence. I don't respect pedophilia. So if that's
1,000%. And it's
period.
like,
The end. There's nothing left
Well-
for me to say on that. If you're a pedophile, you better
100%.
You better.
Now, you
bet.
see these names. Trump's on this list. Clinton's on this list. Dershowitz. But the
Trump's
one
not
name
on the list.
No,
Trump's
meaning like
in it.
was in his orbit, was on his plane.
no,
whatever it
he
was.
never flew to the
Never?
island, never went to the never went to the
Never met with
No.
never talked
He
to
knew-
underage
He
girls.
never met with Epstein.
No, what do you
First
mean
of
met
all,
with them?
Pictures of him
They're
with
at a
Epstein. What are
party
we
or
talking-
whatever, not met with
That's
them.
all I'm talking about, guys.
yeah.
They met together.
There's
But the one name-
But wait a minute. Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
He
was
wait a
not
minute,
friends
Wait a
with
minute. There's a difference. There's a difference between 50 flights to the island, and you're in New York City.
with your son.
You're, okay, so you know we had Mike Tyson here one time, and Mike Tyson, I think it was the last time we had him on. He says one day. He says, I'm doing what I'm doing, and all of a sudden, it was who came to him, Vice or SWAT or FBI came to him.
Oh, because the
And,
guy that
he
did something
says-
crazy.
he says,
Yeah, you're right.
How do you know this man? He says, what do you mean, how do I know this man? He says, well, you took a picture with him. You know what he just did. He just killed 28 people or whatever it was. Like he stabbed and killed a... He says, dude, a guy's taking a picture with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to know what it is. So think about how many parties you've been to, okay? Some of those parties you went to...
Maybe one or two.
No, but how many people were at the party? There's a difference between you going to those parties versus, hey, Adam, come to the island that I have here with
27 times.
Yeah.
Get a
Getting
massage.
27
massages.
times.
And let me put a portrait of you in a blue dress with heels in the front of
Now,
the
Weird.
that's a different conversation. So I know a
1,000,000%.
lot of
I
times.
stand corrected here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, and I'm just, but what I'm getting at, you're absolutely right. Zero contention. The name that is the most liable here is the royal family, Prince Andrew. You've seen what's going on with this guy. I don't know. Is that the actual painting?
That is the
That's
painting.
beyond weird.
You know what's more
But
telling is where
Prince
he put it,
Andrew-
where he put that painting. That painting was in the entrance. So when you came in, right, the entrance of his apartment in New York, I believe, that painting was in the entrance. Why? That's a power play. That tells you
Wow,
I
that's-
own you.
Wow, big.
I
That's so
own you.
gangster.
That was in Clinton's?
No, that was in Epstein's apartment.
Holy
Manhattan.
shit.
When you walk into the, I think it's, I mean, we can fact check me, but when you walk into the right, it's there. You put a former president in a dress and high heels in your entry of your apartment.
Yeah.
What does that say?
I own.
Wait, is that supposed to be the Lewinsky dress, by the way?
I don't know. That's a great question.
It might be. But the Prince Andrew thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as a
Again,
how do you defend
accountability,
that as
I
a
don't-
lawyer?
You don't.
Right? I mean,
You're-
he
No,
did
I
some
wouldn't take
weird
that case.
shit.
I wouldn't take that case
Why not?
because it's to me, unless he could show me that this was not the. I have a very hard time with pedophilia. Look, just because I'm a lawyer, I represented a child who was a victim of rape by a man who raped 20-something other children in a state by a state employee. He was a systemic rapist. He would groom these children, usually divorced children, and he was the only one not within the statute of limitations that could bring a lawsuit. So I couldn't do a class action. I did this. I got, we resolved the case. He's fine. He had drug addiction, all these things from that. I can't, as a human being, I can't defend that. I can't. And some lawyers, maybe they can. Maybe
How do
God bless
lawyers
you.
defend something like that?
Well,
I always ask that
criminal
question.
lawyers,
Yeah.
criminal lawyers, because sometimes you're mitigating damages. You're not trying to
Prove
prove them innocent.
Yeah.
You're just trying to mitigate and negotiate. And by the way, I'd probably be a great criminal attorney. I'm not a criminal attorney. I would have a very difficult time as a human being, as a mother, with representing somebody who I believed was a pedophile.
Alina, so from a lawyer standpoint, the list came out. New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin, the Prince. The list goes on and on. Clinton. There was certain names, especially one that was
Blacked
just
out.
heavily redacted.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my question. There's obviously, I don't know no victims. God, I feel so bad for them. I'll pray for them. But how are they still protecting a name of a person that?
Well, they're not protecting the name.
Well, why are they redacting this
so
person?
legally what happens is, there has to be motions filed to unseal, and people can try and do that, and I'm sure some of these, the Tom Fittons of the world, et cetera, will try and do so. So people always say, it's not all public, and I want the world to understand this. When I have a case, when I'm doing a lawsuit, like, there are things you just don't know that are not public. Sometimes the court orders them be private. There are private conversations with judges and all the parties and their counsel that are sealed for certain reasons, for protection reasons. I don't understand why that is unsealed. I don't like it, and I would love to know as an attorney. I think that no matter what, if this goes to trial, we will know, because they can't happen. I'd be shocked if the press doesn't make a motion to have it filmed and public. But there will be transcripts and all of that. At this point, you don't know. There's so many identity issues. And when you're dealing with minors and rape victims, there's a lot of issues that happen. Sometimes it's to protect the rape victim, that they don't want their name being associated with that blackout name because they're afraid of being killed, and then they have to be insecure. There's so many things that go on that people don't realize. Now, what do I think in here? No, I'm not going to think that. I think that that's somebody who's very high profile. Obviously, there's speculation as to who it could be. But I can't understand how Bill Clinton would be revealed, but this person wouldn't.
Yeah, like who's more, like, this is the ex-president of the United States. His name is all over, but this one heavily redacted name.
But you know who I know it's not?
Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
Yeah. But the left must be going crazy because they just proved all the stuff that we talked about.
Yeah.
Who is protecting more than him, though?
I was just going to say, would it be
Spielberg?
Bill Gates? Maybe a Spielberg? This person is
bigger than Clinton?
Tom Hanks?
Obama?
I don't know, Pat.
How do we know it's one person that's heavily
Well,
redacted?
one of them
It's one name.
It's one name that I kept seeing that was just redacted.
I think that's strange.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Unless they're cooperating. There's so many elements that we don't know.
That's how we have the attorney.
Yeah, they could be a cooperating witness. I'm not sure. Who that would be.
It's so interesting because
But you have to remember, so much happens before the public knows. You have, I've been in front of a grand jury, and people didn't know. And they pull you in. They see if you're going to be part of the papers. That's all stuff that they do. And then they pick and choose, and they put their storyline together, and they decide which witnesses they're going to rely on. But there's a ton of people that go in front of a grand jury and testify. And then what they do is, and it's really unfair because a grand jury is one-sided. You're not allowed to have your lawyer in there. You go by yourself, and it's a frightening experience for anybody. And you just have government, the FBI, the DOJ in there. You have, the grand jurors, and they can ask you whatever you want. You're not represented in there. You can leave and ask a question to your lawyer, but you are by yourself. And if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to hide. I had nothing to hide. I went in, I was honest. But if you have something to hide, I could imagine that then it opens the door to witnesses that flip, witnesses that cooperate, they plea. So there are so many things that could have happened there that people don't realize before it becomes public. But I'm happy that it's becoming public.
You and me both. And I saw something where it's like I don't know if the government or the FBI, one of them have all these boxes of all the recordings and everything that he actually was recording. All these people on the island, all the cameras, all the hidden cameras.
I'm sure.
He had a room like this, Pat, with all these TVs and recording everything. So when they would leave, Alina, and he'd ask, hey, I need this favor. And the person's like, no. He's like, oh, really? That's you with this underage girl or whatever. And they would do all the...
To me, that is the most believable proposition right there.
100%.
If there's anything we know about Epstein, is he's recording all you
and that's why he was so powerful and was getting hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's why he's dead.
That's why he's, or allegedly he might not be.
He offed himself.
Yeah.
That's right.
His business model was blackmail.
100%.
Okay? All the child weird stuff, pedophilia, dude, that's all a means to an end. He is using whatever he can to get dirt on powerful people. Left, right, center, up, down. He got
And who was he working for is the real question.
I'm surprised Ghislaine's still there.
That's crazy.
I'm surprised she hasn't.
She hasn't wanted to off herself? Yeah, that's kind of odd that she's still
You know what this does tell you, though? I mean, you're looking at the stuff. Okay, did you ever meet anybody famous when you were with Jeffrey? She asked. I met Michael Jackson at Epstein's house in Palm Beach. Asked whether she massaged Jackson. She said, I did not. As for Copperfield, she said that he attended dinner at one of Epstein's home and did some magic tricks. Did you observe David Copperfield to be a friend of Jeffrey Epstein? She asked. She replied in the affirmative. Did Copperfield ever discuss Epstein's involvement with young girls with you? She was also asked. He questioned me if I was aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls. Copperfield, she said in a deposition, didn't tell her any specifics of the question. Did he say whether they were teenagers or anything along those lines? She also asked. He did not. Trump, those associations reported, mentioned documents. So Jeffrey, great. Well, call up Trump and we'll go. I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino. And then ask at one point whether she ever gave him a massage to Trump. No. And this is going, right? Okay. So here's the thing. When you're reading this, there's two things here. One, you have to know these guys are sitting around talking to their lawyers, talking to their people, like, what are we going to do? And then they're calling each other like, hey, man, what's your plan? I saw you there, Doug. I mean, what are you up to? Who's your lawyer? What do we want to do with this? Did you call that guy? Did you call this guy?
Oh my God.
Because they know whose name is blacked out.
Of course.
If there's anybody that knows, the people that have been there know, like, they're,
not necessarily. I'm going to correct you because I have been, like I said, I'll use my experience. Okay. I'm not going to speculate, but in my experience, I have been in front of a grand jury. And shocking. It's like what they do to every Trump lawyer, right? They like scare you, they bring you in, things that I had nothing to do with. And they, I had no idea who went in. I still don't. I don't know everybody that went in. I don't know. I don't know who went in because we all have different lawyers and
who went into the grand.
Who went into grand juries? I don't know.
No, I'm saying people that went to the house.
Yeah, but they all don't know who was involved in that and who the other guy might be, because once you go into grand jury. Right? That's not testimony that you get until you're on the.
What I'm saying is, like,
defense.
if you go to a party,
right?
And we're in Vegas, okay. Buddy of mine, my dad's like, where are you going? I said, I'll be back. I'm 14, 15 years old. The story my dad told the other day, right in Aspen. So I go downstairs. My friends, we're all troubled teenagers at the time. We don't have any direction in life. We're in this Cadillac. We take the dad's car. He's driving. My friend, 15-year-old guy. He's driving. I'm 15.
Not legal to drive.
No,
not yet.
But it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Guy pulls up on this side, okay, and 5 guys from New York. Where are you from? New York. Where are you from? Burbank. Oh, okay. Boom. Guns come out. Then all of a sudden, oh my God, here we go. So we run out. Run. Everybody, craziness, and then. Go back to the room. My dad's like, why are you breathing so hard? I was just exercising.
2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning. What are you going to do? I'm just going to sleep. He said, what happened? He doesn't find out till I'm 32 years old when I tell him this story. I'm like, you don't need to. But the people who were in the Cadillac know.
They know.
Right? Yeah. The people who were in the Cadillac know. So the concern here becomes the following. Here are two stories here. One, these money powerful people that have been able to control their card to get away with stuff like this. They did not think today was coming. They did not think that this thing was going to be public. You think they were thinking?
They're
like, I don't know if this day's going to be coming.
They probably thought he was doing everything to protect them.
He was doing everything to protect them. So January 21st, apparently the list, all the other names between now and then is going to be released. Yeah. Moral of the story, folks, this is more having nothing to do with politics, having to do with you. Man, be very careful what parties you go to, okay? And you accept invitations to, okay? Do a lot of due diligence before you say yes to any party you're going to be going to. And if you're going to be going, ask very specific questions.
Are any of the guests pedophiles?
Yeah.
I would like a roster.
Is there a
please.
pedophile lit?
That's always a good
pedophile.
Is the party on an island?
Are we on an island?
Yeah. So
are there minors massaging people?
And,
God.
And FYI, between then and now, think how much social media, if social media was around, like you had smartphones back then, people didn't go on that thing on smartphones. Think about
people would be on the island. Yo, what up here on Jeffrey Epstein's island? We out here.
Oh my God!
Put the phone down, guy. What are you doing?
Oh no, they would do what they do at comedy shows for like Dave Chappelle. When you walk into the comedy club, Alina, there's a bag. You put your phone in. They lock it till you leave. Yeah. So you don't record the performance.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I mean, look,
demons.
Listen, but you can only control so much.
I agree. I totally agree. Listen, Trust me.
You don't think I've taken a picture with some weirdo that I don't know about
There
that
is
comes up to me and says, "Can I take your picture?" That.
Yeah,
by the way,
you're right.
That by the way, that's what happened to Trump. He's got a picture with somebody, and she's like, "Oh, he attacked me, he raped me, he this, that, and the other me." He's like, "I don't remember taking this picture. I don't know who you are."
And then he banned
And then he
him
gets
from-
defamation, rape,
The bigger you are, the more popular you are, the more notoriety you have, the more pictures they're going to ask you for.
I know.
And
Trust me.
didn't Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago, right?
That's right. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad
Trump
you did.
banned-
Trump actually threw him out of the club.
Yeah, out of the club because he flirted with someone's daughter, younger daughter's like.
Yeah,
nah,
he was
we're
like,
not
"No,
doing
we're
that."
not. We don't do that here."
Yeah, you out of
You're
here.
out.
Yeah, right there. Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein
did.
from Mar-a-Lago
He
after
did.
sex criminal hit on member's daughter.
Yeah.
book
By the
claims.
way, that was back in the day. That just tells you
What
who he
year
is.
was that?
He's not into creepy. He's just not. It was a long time ago. It was before any of this, but he was a member, and Epstein was a wealthy Palm Beach guy who threw parties, and then the people that figured out who he was probably bowed out or threw them out of his club, like President Trump. And then the other ones that were into it, I'm sure.
What
just
has
stayed.
Trump said about Epstein on the record? Meaning,
He's
like,
so happy he threw him out of the club and never went to the island.
Yeah, thank
did he
God.
say he thought he was like a scumbag, pedophile? Did he,
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not going to talk about what I don't know.
publicly, I'm saying.
Publicly, I think he's, he's not concerned. I never went to the island. I'm not a pedophile, and I threw him out of my club. I mean, what better facts do you need than that?
And by the way, just off of person, and we talked about this in the last podcast. I just look at what Bill Gates' wife, Melinda Gates, said when she goes, "I met him one time. I had nightmares, and it was evil personified." That's a freaking crazy statement to be like, "I just met him, and I felt." Like the
That's why
devil
you think
was.
he's your
But how
leading
about
candidate
her?
for being.
I mean, how about her, Ghislaine, like grooming?
Oh, she's this. I love how
What happens to Ghislaine at this point from an attorney's
Honestly,
perspective?
from an attorney's perspective, as a conspiracy person, I just hope she
All
doesn't
the
offer herself,
above.
because I would like her to testify. I would like to see this one. I would like to see this one.
Look
go
how
down.
rough she looks right
I
now when
wanna
you have evil inside you.
Yeah,
Look at that.
How
wanna
can she not testify?
I mean, only if she
How does
dies.
that work?
Only if she dies, right?
So they're going to bring her on trial? I mean, they already have
They
had
have to bring her on
Yes.
trial. I mean, she's got to testify, and I hope it doesn't get sealed. Only the identities of the victims should be sealed. But as far as the predators, those should not be sealed, and they should be bringing charges against those people. And I think, frankly, now that it's public, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure to see them do the right thing and go after people that are now. We have the facts. I'm a little disappointed that it takes media to get us there. Can I be honest with you? Like, why did we need to see it for you to have to bring charges? Because as of today, there are no charges brought, right, against Bill Clinton for sleeping with underage individuals. Those victims are alive. What's happening?
Prince Andrew, regardless of his
So what, now?
prince, I don't give a damn.
Why haven't they? Though? This
Why
is actually a
haven't-
good question. Why you're a
Well, let's
lawyer?
just
Tell
think
us
about it.
why haven't they? Why hasn't
Because-
some lawyer gone to the girl?
Can't be the lawyer. It has to be the government. Government has this case. The government needs to bring, civil suit, sure. A civil suit on behalf of the women, but
Right.
they were settled.
Yeah, Chase gave them
They were
$290
settled
million
by a bank.
Yeah, a bank.
A bank
Yep.
settled the suit, paid for
how
it.
Can a bank
JP
settle
Morgan.
this?
JP Morgan, which I believe was it.
$290 million
That's right.
because guess what? Their top brass were involved in all these emails going over there,
1,000
doing their
plus
dirt with them,
yeah.
Patrick.
So there
Guys,
was a settlement.
follow the money.
And part of the settlement is you will no longer sue us. You will take this check. You will shut up. You will go away.
Wow.
It's a settlement agreement. Settlement agreements are fair. You're allowed to have settlement agreements. You're allowed to say, I don't want to litigate. As a victim, I can imagine not wanting to go through litigation, not wanting to be this publicly display your rape and your trauma. Again, that's incredibly traumatic. They suffer from PTSD, real things, real victims. Let me be clear. Because we have this other legal issue happening in our country right now, with the Adult Survivors Act and some of these claims that are coming very late that are, some of them are fake, some of them are real, but the ones that are fake, it bothers the hell out of me. So, we'll see. But I will tell you, outside of the settlement agreement for cash, there needs to be criminal, and that's the state, the government needs to bring charges to people that they know raped underage women.
100%.
You think
Period,
if Trump,
the end.
You think if Trump gets elected, that'll happen?
I can tell you if I'm involved in the DOJ.
Please do it.
That is something that I have no tolerance for that. None. I would.
And it's crazy
come down
and
hard
good,
on that.
Alina. And guess what? The majority of these people, that should be your number one priority.
Excuse me.
People
Safety,
rape
security.
children.
Kids.
Kids.
That's the border problem. We have rape after rape. I mean,
they go disappear. The little kids.
they have the underwear of these children. It's like a trophy. Have you seen these videos at the border? If you look, if you do some research, I mean, it doesn't take much. There are individuals that have gone down there and exposed how much. What they do is they rape the children and then they hang the underwear on the fence to show that they've raped children, and it's all kids' underwear, and it's so disturbing.
That is the most disturbing
It is
thing
so
I've ever heard.
disturbing.
Why though? What's the?
It's just gangs and sickos. I mean, look, understand that a lot of these people that are coming over that are fleeing in a way that can't get in through a legal manner are because they can't get in through the legal means that this country allows for. We allow migrants. We allow immigrants. We are pro-immigration. What we are not is for people who have been charged, who are criminals, who can't get into our country securely, so that we know who's coming in, so that we can allow you in the right way and you get vetted and you're not a terrorist and go through the normal means. We can't have those people. So what are they doing? They're crossing illegally. We've heard that there's, Chinese migrants going through.
Middle East, everybody. Their mothers coming here.
Look, terrorists, and it's just an open entryway. So they're raping, and these are probably people that were rapists.
The problem is we don't know who's coming in because they're just coming in. You saw what I said about Texas?
This has been a great podcast. Appreciate you for coming out. Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep staying tough. And looking forward to seeing what happens. And where can people find you, by the way? Is it just...
I'm so not Alina Habba. I'm Alina Habba on Twitter, Truth Social, which I'm more active on, and of course Instagram.
Fantastic. There you go, Rob. Let's put the link below for everything. Alina, I would say in Assyrian, thank you for coming out,
Merci.
but it wouldn't mean anything.
Shukran. Yeah.
Okay.
Shukran.
All right. Then we'll take that. We'll do that. Yeah. But looking forward to hopefully doing this again sometime in the future.
Thank you.
Great
By the way,
having
if I don't say this, my brother is your biggest fan, and he told me, I swear to God, if you go on.
What's his name?
His name is Fuad.
Fuad, much love to you. Next time, come visit. We'd love to meet you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Thank you.